So Tyler Lockett had a monster game last night. 15 catches, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Joined our guy Brandon on an elite list of guys with at least 15 catches, 200 yards, and 2 TDs in the last 20 years. All right, Brandon, what'd you make of Lockett's monster night last night?
Wow, that's shocking. I appreciate the love, guys. I think you guys are the only ones on TV to show my career any love. I appreciate y'all so much. Look, man, they're special. I spent my last year in Seattle. Absolutely enjoyed my time there. Ultimate competitors. And Tyler Lockett, the thing that makes him special is he catches everything. These catches are difficult. Mike Vick will tell you this. The touchdowns, the third down conversions. This dude has some of the best hands in football. It's time for us to give this guy respect. Phenomenal.
All right, good stuff. Big game, although they didn't pull it out at the end. Bucs and Raiders, let's move on. Tom Brady showing up last night, threw 4 touchdowns, ran for another, and threw for 369 yards. And when the Raiders made it a game in the second half, Brady and the Bucs exploded. 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns. Bucs get the big win. They hang on to first place in the NFC South. Mike Vick back with us. Mike, you never once wavered. You knew Brady would be GOAT-like this season. Is it time for the Brady doubters to admit that he's still one of the best?
Hey, I told my man Nick on numerous occasions that the GOAT is the GOAT, man. He's going to find a way to beat you or come get you at some point or another. And Nick always say, I can say no wrong about Tom Brady. And today I'm going to talk about all the things that he did right yesterday. He found all the receivers that he was supposed to find. 9 different receivers caught passes. And if you look back at the New England Patriots over the years when Tom Brady was at the helm, they always hit a rough patch early in the season. They might start out, win 2 games, and then they might lose 2, and then it was, it's Tom Brady losing it. Is it time for him to move on? And then they put together another string of wins of 4 or 5 or 6 wins in a stretch. And this is that stretch right now for Tom Brady. Too many great minds around right now, around him. Brian Leftwich, Bruce Arians, and a bunch of playmakers, stepping up at the right time. So, the emergence of Gronk, Scotty Mills, as you can see on the screen, these guys are clicking on all accord. And Tom is going to continue to get better and better, and it's going to get even greater. This might be the greatest show on grass when it's all said and done. Especially once AB arrives, and that's a story that's a different topic. But Tommy, he's playing good football, and right now I don't see him slowing down. I only see the team continuing to get better and the offense continuing to get better.
All right, so let me answer this question. So what I could say is, yeah, Tom Brady was great yesterday against, the 28th ranked pass defense, a team that's 30th in the NFL in sacks, and I want to see him do it against a better team. But I'm not going to be wildly unfair the way you guys just were about Baker. I'm going to go out on a limb and say 5 touchdowns against anybody is great. Tom Brady was great yesterday. He was great early. The pass at the end of the first half was perfect. And getting a touchdown there is such a gut punch to the Raiders. And then, when it looked like the Raiders might be back in the game, when it was 24-20, Brady blitzed him again. The unequivocal, unabashed praise for what Brady did yesterday. Now, do I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in football still? I do not. However, where I can admit I was wrong was going into the Bears game, I said I thought the Bucs were going to go 1-2 or 0-3. Not only did they not go 1-2 or 0-3, they went 2-1, and the 2 wins were in blowout fashion, and the 1 loss was by 1 point against the Bears when Brady forgot the down, so they could have won that game. So I do feel like it is time for me to admit I have underestimated the Bucs to a degree, and that Brady was brilliant yesterday. Now, do I think Brady is going to be vintage Tom? No. Do I think that he's going to have a lot of performances like this? No. But this was the single best football game, Brandon, I've seen him play since Week 3, 2017 against a rookie Deshaun Watson. So I have to give him credit for that because he was spectacular yesterday. anyone could see that.
This is one of the most unbelievable things I've ever seen on television. You stand on the table for Baker Mayfield, who's inconsistent in 3 years. We don't know who this guy is. Is he the man? Is he the face of the franchise, or is he a bust? And then you have Tom Brady, who for 20 years have won at an alarming rate, who is the GOAT, who won 6 Super Bowls. He's on to his 7th. Those are basketball numbers. Most guys dream to play football for 6 years. He's won 6 Super Bowls, and you refuse to give this man credit. We talk about the Bucs, you blame it on Brady. We talk about Brady, you talk about the Bucs. Nick, I don't know what else he needs to do to convince you. I am convinced that you will never, ever give him love. So, Vic, I'm going to speak to you. Wiles, I'm going to speak to you on this. You got to think about what he's done this year. The first 2 games, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Since then, 15 touchdowns, 1 interception in the last 5 games. The last time he's done that and went on a 5-game streak was 2007, 2010 when he won MVP. I would say that Russell Wilson gave Tom Brady little room to come in this MVP discussion.
Wow. Okay. I don't think that's a bad take, Brandon. I mean, if the Bucs keep on playing like this, but if he does win MVP, he should chop it up and give it to his offensive lineman, because his offensive line is playing lights out. He had 0 sacks yesterday. He got hit once. Over 7 games, he's only been sacked 8 times. And look, they're leading the league here, tied with the Colts. And we know that Bruce Arians likes to wear Kangol hats and treat his quarterbacks like a demolition derby, but he's really protecting them now, and he's still wearing his Kangol hats. And when he's getting protection, good things happen. Gronk and Brady back at it. So, Mike, I don't see Tom Brady slowing down if that offensive line keeps him protected. But we know the way to beat Tom Brady is knock him around a little bit. He's 43 years old. He's probably the fragilest quarterback in the league. But if the offensive line keeps him protected, I think sky's the limit.
Right now, you just can't get to Tom. You can't get to him. The ball is coming out, and he got weapons all across the field now, and everybody is being used correctly. So between Godwin and Mills and Gronk, they pretty much won that game yesterday. Mike Evans, I think, only had maybe 1 or 2 catches. So, when you look at it overall, the ball distribution was amazing yesterday. And Tom found all the receivers that he was supposed to find at the right time. He didn't have to hold on to the ball. He wasn't trying to stretch the field. And the game was easy for him.
Well, he'll have one more target coming up next week. The Bucs making a splash before the game this weekend when they signed Antonio Brown to a 1-year deal. AB reunited with his old buddy Tom Brady. Mike, you were already high on Brady before they got AB. How much better does this now make the team?
It's not only going to make the team better, but it's going to make the whole entire group of receivers better. When guys see AB come into that locker room, you know what? Everybody feel like they got to up the ante. They got to put in more work. They're going to have to, fight for catches and compete with one another. And that's what you want. I think that Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers made this move on purpose. It was a good move, too. I mean, it made them so much better on the offensive side of the ball, but it created a competitive edge. So now, guys are getting dinged up, guys are getting hurt. They're going to work extremely hard to get back on the field because Tom is holding everybody accountable. And, what AB is going to bring is a different type of energy. He's going to bring that competitive nature, and he's still one of the top receivers in the game. And used the right way, he's going to be put in positions where he can help this offense excel and move forward at an easier rate. So, this is a great signing by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and certainly propelled them and put them in a position where they can compete for the Super Bowl now.
So I want to give Brady credit, and then I want to ask Brandon a question, because Brady, you guys say I give him credit for nothing. I call him the undisputed GOAT of the entire NFL, but he's learning from a different undisputed GOAT, LeBron James, putting his old GM hat on, saying, hey, I can play for you. I can also organize your roster for you. Bruce Arians back in March. Not going to happen. No room. Not a fit here. I know him. Not a fit in our locker room. That was on Antonio Brown. Bruce Arians yesterday. Oh, we love him. I told you Brady had nothing to do with that. Okay, no problem. Sure. But here's my question to you, Brandon Marshall. because Mike mentioned an interesting name a few minutes ago, Mike Evans. Mike Evans had 2 catches on 2 targets yesterday. Mike Evans going into this year, you and I talked about him as one of the most underrated receivers in the entire league. He is on pace for, aside from his rookie season, his fewest yards, catches, targets. How does this sit with Mike Evans in the locker room when he sees Scotty Miller all of a sudden is one of Brady's favorite targets? We know Gronk is one of his favorite targets, especially as of late. And now AB, who he pined for last year, is back with Tom Brady. How do you think this landed with Mike Evans?
Well, number one, when you look at the stats, he's banged up. So a smart receiver understands that production will be down. 2, look at what Bruce said also in that press conference. What did he say? He said, I love Mike Evans because he never complains. He never asks for the ball. He just wants to win. 3, a smart receiver, and this is what my uncle told me when I went from running back to wide receiver in the 8th grade. He said, look, you're only as good as the receiver on the other side. And right now, all 3 of those guys are banged up. They're top 3 wide receivers. So Mike Evans, if he wants to win, if he wants to actually be better as an individual, then he needs Antonio Brown on the other side. For me, I always tried to make sure Eddie Royal was balling in Denver, Brian Hartline and Devon Best in Miami, Eric Decker. That was always my goal, was how do we be the best duo in the NFL? So I think this is great for Tampa, and it's going to make everyone better, just like Vick said.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.